We are back. The sucker's back in town. It's only been 5 months, but here it is again. But are you complaining? No, you're not. It's come after 5 months, but it's come 4 months too late considering what's going on outside in the world right now. Well, there's a bit of distraction coming your way every evening and some afternoons as well. And then, of course, we'll be here to talk about all of that. So that's going to be a very, very pleasant distraction. You're watching Cricbuzz Live in association with our fantasy partner, My 11th Circle. I'm Gaurav Kapur. Joining me today on this curtain raiser for season 2021, we have got the voice of cricket, Mr. Harsha Bhogle, from an undisclosed location. Somewhere in Mumbai, right? Are you in a bio bubble? Are you in Mumbai? Are you in...
I'm in just another hotel, another bubble. What was that old ABBA song? Another town, another train. So I'm in another bubble somewhere.
I feel like now when you go home, you're going to get an invoice from home for stay, right?
I'm glad you picked that up, and not the year in which another town, another train was recorded by ABBA.
Yeah, no, I don't even know, right? I don't even know. But I do like the fact that at least you have come from the 40s, where your musical references used to be, to now slightly more contemporary 70s, right? Yes. And we have somebody here who's not in his 70s, but he's got the wisdom of somebody. The wisdom of somebody.
Well played, Gaurav. I will not forgive you for that in a hurry.
Joy Bhattacharjya joining us from in front of the many books that he has not read but kept for showing off purposes.
Absolutely. I've just got a whole new set of books just for show-off purposes, because you see, Kindle doesn't kill it that way, because, you know, all the books you can have on Kindle, it looks exactly the same size. So, you know, I've just given up on Kindle. I've gone back to these books. Otherwise, how can I show off?
I have to tell you, though, that
it's the same books.
It's the same books.
Then what? Just over his left ear, about sort of a fine leg, there is that black book that was always there.
Oh, yeah, you are right. You are right. We will pull out references from 6 months ago and check these. In fact, if any of our eagle-eyed fans and viewers out there want to do this, please feel free to do it. I've got a lot of new books as well, which is how I've managed to get this height on the camera. Well, here we are talking about... We're going to be talking about the 8 teams, of course, that are going to be in action starting tomorrow. There's some very, very interesting things that are happening in some very strange times. I mean, we seem to be saying that a lot more often than we'd like to, but even more so now than perhaps a few weeks ago. And of course, the safety of the players and the officials, all that is very important. And I'm sure that the bio bubbles are very tight. We're going to make sure and hope and keep our fingers crossed that the tournament goes off without a hitch. A few interesting things to look forward to in the next couple of months. This is going to be a caravan-style tournament, just to ensure the sanctity of the bubbles. There's going to be teams that are moving from one place to the other. So there's 4 teams in one location, another 4, another location, and then they move together to other places. But the interesting thing when you look at all of that, I know that's a lot of lists, and you say, well, look at Excel sheets all day. Please tell me, please condense and distill that for me. I'll just tell you one thing. There is no team playing a home game. Nobody is playing at home. And Joy, that's very interesting, because some teams will love it and some teams will hate it.
Absolutely, absolutely. I fully agree with you. Somebody like Delhi would turn around and say that this is the answer to all my dreams. If this was an opportunity to do well, it was. And Mumbai would be saying that, do we really need to start off playing in places like Chennai? And also, yeah, absolutely. I think it'll suit it and everyone. See, the only thing, you know, like you have universal donor, which is like there, you know, in blood groups that can give to everybody. The only ground that everyone's happy to go to is Bangalore. Everyone is turning around and saying, yeah, we got some games in Bangalore.
Except Bangalore.
Except Bangalore.
Except Bangalore, who has a negative win-loss record there, Harsha.
Yes, they do. But thank God he was talking about universal donor and went very quickly to blood groups. I was wondering where Joy in his 70s wisdom was headed now. But you know, when in those good old days, when the IPL used to be played 7 home games, 7 on the road, Mumbai made it a fortress. You know, we said we won't use that word, remember? All those years ago. We're back to talking about fortresses.
You've broken the pact in the first 5 minutes. Well done.
There we go. But there is no pact now, because there is no home ground. But Jaipur was a fortress. Mumbai was a fortress. Kolkata wrote volumes on fortresses and the ideology of fortresses as well. But now there is nothing like that. So the home advantage is gone. And it'll affect some teams, as you say, but Bangalore is a strange one with a negative home away record, largely because of their end overs problems.
Yeah, you'd think that perhaps that's going to be better this year for them. The fact that they're not playing over there, but we'll get to the teams one by one. But I think the one thing that's clear: Bangalore definitely not unhappy. Yes, of course they'll miss their fans, but there were going to be no fans in the stadium anyway, so there is no loss really there for them. So they're not going to miss playing away from the Chinnaswamy. And Delhi's not going to mind playing away from Delhi, but that's pretty much like everyone from Delhi. They just want to get away from Delhi, so that's fine. I mean, here we have one person here who hasn't managed to get away. We've got one person here who's managed to get away. So we can tell you the Stockholm syndrome that happens with Delhi.
They want to play all their home games in Goa? Because I'm told everybody from Delhi goes to Goa these days.
That's right. In fact, they can just buy 14 villas and make a stadium out of that, right? Which they are doing anyway. Right?
No, wait a minute. That stadium is now moved to the Maldives.
Oh, yes, of course.
I actually believe that the Maldives is just an Instagram backdrop.
I feel that Maldives is the new banana bread. That's what it is. From last year.
मैं भी गया था तो क्या बोलूं?
ऐसी सही बात है. आप भी तो गए थे सर. क्या बड़े लोगों की बड़ी बातें हम क्या जाने. पर हम छोटी चीजों की बात करते हैं यहाँ पे. We'll talk about the small things that can make a difference. And what I'm going to do is there are two gentlemen here who feel very passionately about this. So I'm just going to say two words and then I'm going to go for a walk and come back after about 7 or 8 minutes. Gentlemen, soft signal. Go.
No. Soft signal, no. No, Corona, no soft signal, no.
No, so we spoke about that a lot, Joy, and I'm sure you spoke about it on the English show as well when you were there for India England. But this just magnified so much in those last few games that were played between India and England.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think the circumstances also dictated it. And I think one of the things that the BCCI is doing is making a very strong statement to the ICC, saying that look, we don't have it, we plan not to have it. And it's also telling the ICC, okay, now you have at least 60 odd matches to see if what we are doing works or not.
Yeah.
And if it's a good system, adopt it. Because clearly we think this is the way forward to move. And I think a lot of it has also come from the team management going back and Virat and all these guys talking about it and saying, look, it doesn't make much sense. And I have to say they have a point. Yeah. I think that, it could go either way, but my odds are that this soft signal is going to stay this soft signal is not going to stay. I think if the ICC sees it work well, it'll work.
Yeah. Harsha, you've been with a few ex-players and stuff during the tournament. Are they also in agreement that the only soft signal the on-field umpire should be giving is?
It's interesting to see why the soft signal came in the first place.
Yeah.
The reason the soft signal came was because the cameras were not giving you conclusive evidence for low catches. And catches that were proven to be clean were looking not out. So what do? You say, okay, my fingers are underneath, but is there a blade of grass coming through? So every catch looked not out. And there are fielders who are saying, excuse me, but I took the catch, I got pass marks, but teacher gave me fail. So everything looked not out. That was the reason the soft signal was introduced. So now what we are saying is we're going to go back to the replay. We're going to go back to the same 2D picture. And we're telling the umpire, now you decide. Yeah. So we've actually gone back, and I'd be very interested to see what protocol they use. Because I'll tell you something, even when the fingers are underneath, every ball comes like this and goes up. Now, you have to figure out if it's hit the finger and gone into the palm, or if it's hit the ground and come into the fingers. Both will look exactly the same. Yeah. So it's now up to the umpire to decide. What I will tell you is if that happens in the last over, everybody in Bangalore will say not out. Everybody in Kolkata will say out, assuming that that's what the game is. But now we have to live with that.
Well, let's start by talking about, let's talk about Mumbai. Well, of course, we have to start by talking about them. 5 trophies already, going for a hat-trick this time. Absolute favorites. And Harsha has said that the only team that can get in Mumbai's way is Mumbai themselves. This primarily is, well, 2 reasons. One, of course, a super settled 11. And 2, that so many of the players, they almost have the Reliance way of doing business. Like they bet long-term, right? So they bet long-term on a lot of young players and they've come through. I mean, just count them. Jasprit Bumrah, the Pandya brothers, Ishan Kishan, Surya Kumar Yadav. These are all long-term Indian unknown bets. that they have just stuck with. And that's something that other teams don't do. Harsha, do you agree with that?
It is, except for one name, because I don't know if you saw Joy, but he just gulped and swallowed all the
Surya.
air.
When I said Surya, Kolkata did Surya. That's right, of course.
Kolkata loves all their players that they develop and give to other teams. So, now, but what you're saying, I add to that Rahul Chahar as well, who's now come on. Every one of them, every single player is an international now. So it's almost like a multi-starrer. Krunal Pandya has just played in ODIs and he's got a big score. Rahul Chahar has just played in T20s. Ishan Kishan has gone and played an international like he was playing against you and me in the hall. Yeah. Surya Kumar Yadav has played like he's belonged. Quinton de Kock not available for the first game, so they might try out someone like a Chris Lane or maybe even go with Nisham as an opening batsman and left-hander in the top order. So they've got options there. And what I like about Mumbai this year is that given that they're playing 9 games, and they didn't know they were playing 9 games in Chennai and Delhi before the auction, that's how it just turned out. They've got Piyush Chawla.
Yeah.
Joy, look away. He played for that other side once in a final. They've got Piyush Chawla, they've got Jayant Yadav, they've got Anukul Roy to add to Krunal Pandya and Rahul Chahar and Hardik Pandya, who becomes a fast off-break bowler, and Kyron Pollard, who's been taking wickets. So I think they've actually got a team that can play on those slowish tracks. So yeah, it's full of internationals. Sometimes though, when you have a multi-star cast, each person thinks,
if you just look at their schedule real quick. If you just look at their schedule real quick, of course, the Chennai games are there. And there's, the advantage of change of pace is probably more in Chennai than anywhere else, and especially the slower bowlers.
No, absolutely. As Harsha was saying, I mean, Piyush Chawla is a huge pickup, the third most successful bowler in IPL history. And they did it even before they knew they were going to play, 5 games in Chennai. And 4 in Delhi, where you don't, in Delhi also could be very useful. Amit Mishra, all these years in Delhi, he's really thrived on that wicket, and that wicket will suit Piyush Chawla as well. So I think they have it. And what I like about what Mumbai has done is also they've backed players long term. They've also made them feel secure. So when Rahul Chahar did well for them, they released Mayank Markandeya. They felt that, okay, Rahul doesn't need to look over his shoulder and find somebody out there. And now Rahul has the confidence that even Piyush comes in. Most cases, if Piyush comes in, Piyush will be bowling along with Rahul, not as substituting for Rahul. I think Rahul's already made his case to be that first bowler at this point in time. And I think they've done a wonderful job of what we call calmness. That means not reacting to one match, 2 match. Exactly what we accuse RCB perhaps of doing very often, which is, reacting very immediately to circumstances. 1 match, 2 match, okay, Shivam Dube, you can't play out here. Or, okay, let's move this guy out this position. Yeah. That's what Mumbai doesn't do. They just stay calm. Rohit is calm. Shane Bond is calm. Zaid is calm. Mahila is calm. They're all very calm guys, and they'll sort it. So the only thing that I think is against them is that they've been relatively injury-free over the years. Over the last couple of years, they've been relatively injury-free. That's helped a lot. And the second is that, given the format, if our finals were like the NBA or like baseball and a 6-game series, you'd say Mumbai would beat anyone 95 times out of 100. Yeah. When it's a 1-match game, those odds could be 65-35, it could be 60-40, but it's not going to be 90-10. On one match, anything can happen. And I think that's the only thing that, Mumbai will look at and say that, okay, on one final, if we reach the finals, anything could happen.
Yeah, that's a final. Yeah, the finals are at this stage. Yeah.
Yeah, but it seems to be a popular consensus, right, Harsha, that they're just going to take one spot in the final. They're a bit like what you would say about CSK like 5 years ago, right?
Yeah, but nobody's done 3 in a row. As I said in my preview blog, there's some mystique about 3 in a row. Whether it's the examples I gave there, and Joy can add to those, were Real winning 3, Australia winning 3, the Bulls winning 3. So, when you win 3, it's almost part of folklore. Even Chennai didn't win 3. Chennai made a lot of finals, but won 2. I think they won They won 10, 11, and then had to wait till 18 to win another one. So winning 3, I think that should be their incentive, their focus, so that they don't think, yaar, kuch bhi hum to qualify kar hi jayenge.
Yeah. And of course, the only thing going against them is perhaps that the one thing going for them is that they're the only team who have a positive win-loss record in 3 of the 4 venues that they're playing in. But Delhi has been their Achilles heel. They've only won 4 in Delhi and lost 7 there. True to form, the Mumbai-Delhi problem. Mumbai just doesn't like going to Delhi. Delhi doesn't like Mumbai. It just keeps happening. And that was the final last year. I love that little narrative that gets built over there. But there you go. That's a
Mumbai, I thought Mumbai is aspirational for Delhi Wallas, especially those in the media and whatever industry, media, sports.
Please, there is a gentleman who is in NCR sitting right now in front of his.
No, I'm not talking about him. No, I'm not talking about me.
Sir, but I've never told you I was born in this city, so my Janam Bhumi had to become my Karam Bhumi. I was born in
straws, clutching.
Breach Candy Hospital, sir. You can see from your window. I was born over there. They still have my picture. They still have my picture there. I stole 8 diapers and ran away, so they still have my picture. Let's talk about our second team. Of course, we say Mumbai. I mean, just advantage for them. The one thing
There's one little thing about Mumbai though, which is they won 3 in a row with very little from Rohit Sharma. He does well in the finals on a big day with very little from Rohit Sharma. I mean, this is Rohit Sharma we are talking about. You talk white ball cricket, you talk Rohit Sharma. But somehow in the IPL, I don't know. And if he opens with Chris Lynn in the first game, you'll find that the spinners might well bowl the first 6 overs because it was a spin to Chris Lynn that released Sunil Narayan at KKR. Ever since Chris Lynn left, Sunil Narayan's batting has also left. But I'm looking forward to seeing Rohit have a big year. Can you imagine in this team if Rohit has a 500 plus season? Yeah. Then what do you do?
And he hasn't had one. He's had a few 300s, 400. He's had a 280. I mean, they still win, right? So the flip side of it is you look that they are not overtly dependent on one international legend. They just got everyone standing up in every game.
Pollard and Pandya, last year, Pollard and Pandya, largely because of them, they scored at an average of 2 per over more than any other team in the death overs. They just hit more boundaries than anybody else. They were hitting boundaries for fun. Somebody or the other was hitting boundaries. And so there was a feeling, look, let's stay alive till the 15th over and we'll just boss the last 5 anyway. So that's the big strength for them, the end overs.
The 5, 6, 7. We talk about their 5, 6, 7 winning them games. It's the 2 Pandya brothers and Pollard, of course, coming in whichever order that they come. Let's have a look at the Delhi team next. The runners up. But before that, we've got some rating points that we've all put in terms of chances on a scale of 1 to 10. We all put those down, and there you go. I've given them a 9, as has Harsha and Joy and Simon. Joy's given an 8.5 because he's from Kolkata, and Simon's given them a 9.5. So there you go. What are your ratings? Let us know. #Cricbuzz Live. We are eager to hear those. Let's move on to our runners-up from last year. They changed their name and they changed their game. They were number 3 in 2019, number 2 in 2020. Will that progression take them to the title, their first one ever in 2021? I am talking about the Delhi team. The setback, of course, for them is the fact that their captain, Shreyas Iyer, will not be there. But there is young Rishabh Pant. Now, that has been very interesting because we were speaking about this on the Hindi Cricbuzz Live at the end of India-England when Shreyas was ruled out. We said, who will it be? Because they've got so many captains. They've got Shikhar Dhawan. They've got Steve Smith, Ashwin, Ajinkya Rahane. And yet they've gone pretty much true to grain. Making Shreyas Iyer the captain means now you make Rishabh Pant the captain because it just shows, Harsha, that these are the 2 players they definitely will be retaining. If it's a big auction and only 3 players can be retained, they're going to do Shreyas, they're going to go Rishabh, and third might be a toss-up between, Prithvi or whoever else. But these 2, they're definitely going with, aren't they? This is just testament to that fact.
I mean, I was so excited to watch Rishabh Pant at this year's IPL. The last 5 or 6 months for Rishabh Pant, I mean, Rishabh Pant his career has been a bit sort of like a sine wave. It's gone up and down and up and down. But the last 6 months for Rishabh Pant across formats have been just sensational. And across the world now, when people are talking about wow players, they talk about Rishabh Pant. So I was really keen to see if he can maybe deliver another 600-run season like he did, 2017-18, one of those, he delivered a 600-run season. Yeah. But now that he's captain, I'm very keen to see how he goes about it. Can you imagine CSK DC, Dhoni is going out to toss with Rishabh Pant, and Dhoni might say, "अच्छा बेटे, क्या सोच रहे हो आजकल? मेरी तरह पीछे से बोल रहे हो?" So, I'm very keen. I hope Delhi do not get their lead batsmen affected by captains. So I'm very, very keen to see how he manages both. But knowing him, he probably won't care. He'll just go and play the way he knows.
Yeah, and the good thing is that he's got, the leadership unit, so to speak, from Australia, which is Ashwin and Ajinkya, who are going to be possibly there with him, through the entire thing. And Ajinkya perhaps will play all games, considering Shreyas is not there, Joy. He'll probably have two very, very calm heads going, listen, kid, don't worry about it. We got you back. Just play your game.
No, absolutely. I think he has the leadership group is there. And you add to that people like Ishant and all who are playing all this time. And people, Shikhar, Ishant, Delhi boys understand what Rishabh is all about. The kind of temperament, the kind of person he is. It's a very particular kind of player he is, and I think they'll support him a lot. But I think the real relationship for me is a relationship between Ricky Ponting and Rishabh Pant. Because clearly what Ricky Ponting didn't want is a captain who was maybe hidebound in old habits and stuff. He wanted a young, fresh person to work with. And if you see Australian coaches, most of the Australian coaches who've done really well in the IPL, though, have had experience of the subcontinent. Davenil Watmore, Tom Moody. You've done well when you've actually, understand how the subcontinent works. Ricky has had not that much experience in the subcontinent. It'll be interesting to see how that goes.
I have seen Rishabh Pant and Shreyas Iyer with Ricky Ponting. They are just like starry-eyed kids just kind of following him around. And why wouldn't you? Like, he's a legend of the game. And it's just, it was very interesting 2 seasons ago to see these two youngsters like just kind of following him around, hanging on to every word that he was saying. So I think they definitely have a very open and a very clear kind of communication. And while Delhi, of course, the negative thing for them is that Shreyas Iyer, who was in ripping hot form, is not going to be there. The good thing for them is that 2 blokes that they depend on, who had a dismal season in 2020, are both again in ripping form. That's Rishabh Pant and, of course, Prithvi Shaw.
Prithvi Shaw is in the form of his life, and I just hope he can carry that form in. I think he's going to be the X factor for that side. I saw one innings that he played in the Vijay Hazare Trophy. I sort of switched on just to watch Prithvi Shaw play, and he was playing. I'll tell you exactly. I played a little bit of lower division cricket before I moved on to senior division cricket in Hyderabad. In lower division cricket, there used to be these bullies who would say, "Tu kaun aa gaya mere samne?" And they used to just keep swatting everything. He was playing like he was bullying the bowling. As if he said, "You can't get me out. I mean, I'm going to hit where I want. Dekha, I hit you there." He was playing like a bully. Now, I hope he can, if he brings that form in and he gives them starts, it will allow the others, you see, because I see Rishabh playing at 4 in this side. So if Rishabh is playing at 4, then Prithvi and Rishabh at 4 will allow Shikhar those 10-15 balls, and then Shikhar takes off as well. There's one factor though for them, which is Rabada Nokia not available for the first game.
Yeah.
What that can do to them is actually they can then play Steve Smith if they want ahead of Rahane at 3, play Umesh Yadav and Ishan Sharma both, and only play one of Vokes or Karan.
Let's look at their squad again while you speak about that, because I was completely convinced that the Delhi team would buy a rocket from Elon Musk to bring these 2 guys in time in a little bio bubble, but they're not getting there in time for the first game, or they will be still in a bubble. Who are the guys that you have? You have Chris Vokes, you have
and Tom Curran.
Tom Curran. You have, I don't know, is Steve Smith going to play? I mean, did you see that? By the way, just want to ask you, did you guys see that video of Mike Hesson where they strategized of how they're going to put a bid in for Steve Smith and someone else will put a bid and they will almost derail their auction plans?
Yeah, absolutely. I saw that. And it's interesting, though, my danger about this, and I keep telling Ajit and all our friends out there, is that these are best to show after the championship has happened. Before, sometimes, it's not easy for you to, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. If Steve Smith gets 500 runs now, I mean, it's a lot of egg on people's faces. So it's a dangerous thing to do. But anyway, I thought it was very brave television. But the thing I want to say is that I don't think they'll praise Steve Smith early. And there's a reason for it. What happens if you stick Steve Smith in now because he's capable of doing it? He goes and gets you, 80, 90 crucial runs or does really well for you. Once now these 2 fast bowlers come back, what's your side going to be? So those 2 definitely, you have to play Stoinis because Stoinis is your all-rounder. He is the 6th bowler. He's the reason. You have to play him. Then you can't play Hetmeyer. And Hetmeyer is a, whatever it is, is a cracking player.
Wait, there is no Hetmeyer. There's no Hetmeyer anymore.
Number four in the first.
Oh, there he is. Sorry, there he is. I need glasses. There he is. I was wondering why.
Are you sure it's coffee? Are you sure it's coffee?
Something a little stronger.
No, but
something else.
you're right. Joy is absolutely right. What that could lead to, though, is suppose Steve Smith plays the first game and gets a fabulous 70-80, because remember, he's a champion. He's got a point to prove. He wants to look at that Mike Hesson video every few hours. They've got a couple of guys that are being talked about a lot. There's one guy from Delhi called Lalit Yadav, who used to come on as a sub every time in the last IPL and pick out fantastic catches in the deep. And there's a guy from, I think from Gujarat or Baroda called Ripan Patel. And these guys are scoring at 180, 190 in the games that they're playing. So if they can trust them to go out at 6 and play those innings, then they could still play Steve Smith and Hetmeyer's place could come in doubt. Their other problem is I don't know when Akshar will be ready to play because he's tested positive. So Amit Mishra might come back into the side.
Yeah, well, so again, these are kind of good problems for Delhi to have, and they have. And here's the thing: the final last year, and I think it was the last 2 games, they opened with Marcus Stoinis, right? That was because there was no Prithvi Shaw. And Marcus Stoinis, we know, is absolutely destructive on top of the order. Is there any way to fit him in there now, Joy? Does that work, or does he just go back to 6 because Prithvi Shaw is now in the form of his life?
No, I think Stoinis has to bat at 6 and give them, especially if Akshar is, not available for the first few matches. It's interesting. The other is at the start of the tournament, if there are 3 matches in Mumbai which are going to be faster pitches, you may not see maybe Amit Mishra come in early. You might see both Ishant and Umesh maybe playing together, or getting that extra fast bowler in, because they have both Ishant and Umesh. Once they go to Chennai, it's definitely going to be Amit Mishra if Akshar Patel is not fit. And in Chennai, don't be surprised if you see all three playing. You see Ashwin, Amit Mishra, Akshar Patel, all 3 playing, because that Delhi side has that kind of spin capability out there. They can do a lot of damage.
I've got a wicked thought.
Yes,
I've got a wicked thought. Given that Dhoni is not leading CSK in Chennai, will Chennai play the same way? Will the track be the same? Will it still be a 140, 145 kind of game, given that Chennai are not playing at home?
Very interesting. Chennai have 9 spinners, don't they? They would have loved to play in Chennai this time. 9 spinners, haven't they? Let's look at the Delhi rating points that we have all given to Delhi's chances. Let's have a look at them real quick. If we can just pull them up on the screen. I've given them an 8.5, as has Simon. Harsha's given them an 8, and Joy has given them a 7.
Because he doesn't live in Delhi, he lives in Gurgaon. That's right.
That's right. I don't know why he's done that, but he's given them a 7. Come on, run us up, Joy. Run us up. But anyway,
look, I gave Mumbai an 8.5 because I said, that they're very good, but they can get even better. I mean, you giving people 9.5, 10, after that, there's no fun in the game, It's like Nadia Comaneci. Once you get a 10, what are you going to do after that? Yeah, I mean, there's nowhere else to go. So I'm giving them a little, room on top to sort of get even better,
The good professor, trying to motivate people with lower marks. Let's have a look at Chennai. We'll talk about professors who play cricket. Well, we got to talk about MS Dhoni. We just keep thinking, this will be his last one. Let's stop talking about that, because I don't think there's ever going to be a last one. And I don't think you or me or anyone can predict when that last one will be. Only he knows, and his brain is quicker than Chacha Chaudhary's, and Chacha Chaudhary's brain is quicker than supercomputer. So let's have a look at Chennai and where they stand, who they're playing, what their squad is. There you go. He's the captain. Just don't even start counting the spinners that they have. Let's just look at the one big thing that is good for them, which is that Suresh Raina is going to be available this season. He hasn't played competitive cricket in quite a while, but he will be there. They've got Robin Uthappa there as well, which means that Joy is going to be cheering for them just a little extra. Yes. They've got Moin Ali, which I find very interesting. He's a player that I think of very highly, underutilized by Bangalore when he was there for sure. They've got Mitchell Sanders. This is a very, very interesting squad. But Harsha, when you look at it, it's almost like a problem of plenty, isn't it?
And they've got to figure out, it's still an aging squad. The core of Chennai over these years. And, when I was in advertising, people had a very interesting analysis of agencies. They said, if your show reel has ads that were made 10 years ago, then what have you done since? Similarly, if your key players were Thalai and Chinna Thalai, Now, Talai played 2019, then he played little bit 2020, and he's not played since. I'm told he's had 2-hour batting sessions every day in the nets. What about Chinna Talai? Chinna Talai has not been seen. He's only been seen on Insta. So I hope he's come back and he's really practiced hard, because Raina was the heartbeat of that batting. In many ways, he was the heartbeat. Will he be the heartbeat? If he can, fantastic. If Raina delivers a 400, 450 run season for them, that's brilliant. Then we'll see what Uthappa does, what Faf does, what the people around do. Young Ruturaj, after he discovered the spark, did well in the last 3 games towards the end. But so we'll have to wait and see. I still think that batting is thoda kacha.
But the thing is that they've got a fair bit of youth in the bowling, right? If you look at Lungi Nigiri, you look at Shardul Thakur, Deepak Chahar, you look at Mitchell. We'll just pull the squad up again. You see they've got a fair bit of youth infusion over there. Sam Curran. So they've got a fair bit of youth over there. So it's quite interesting, because they've got the aging superstars, Dwayne Bravo, Imran Tahir, in their bowling as well. But they've got some young fellas there as well. It was quite interesting that they picked up Krishnappa Gautam for what they did, because I don't know how he plays. I mean, you've got Ravindra Jadeja, who definitely plays there. Then do you play Krishnappa Gautam as well? Somebody's phone is someone's calling somebody. Someone's phone ringing.
No, Joy, is that your phone? Joy, is that your phone? Simply because there was this guy on Twitter who said, "I'm looking forward to the 3 of you, but Joy, please switch off your phone."
Yeah, put it on silent.
And
But
Joy,
look, it's not me. I'm telling you, this is. How do you think it's my phone? Look at my phone.
But it sounded like a hotel phone, didn't it?
Yes,
it sounded like a hotel phone. We have. I may not look like it, but I've been to many 5-star hotels. I know what the What was right here?
Anyway, one last thing before you go to Joy on Chennai, which is that there are 2 people who played together for New South Wales in Australia. One is Mitchell Starc, one is Josh Hazlewood, and they sort of learn from each other. And Josh Hazlewood has learned from Mitch Starc how to be the runaway bride. So he suddenly said, "Goodbye, sorry, I'm not coming." And this was the tournament they would have needed him the most. Not as much in other tournaments, but here they're playing 9 games on sort of fastish, bouncy-ish tracks. They would have needed Hazlewood there. And they don't have Hazlewood this year. Look where they're playing. Mumbai, 5 games in Mumbai, 3 in Bangalore, 2 in Kolkata. That's 11 out of 14 on the 3 highest scoring grounds in the tournament. Yeah. That is when they would have needed Hazlewood. So that's going to be a little tricky for them to recalibrate themselves from a 150 side to a 175, 180 side. Because Joy, if you remember last year, their first 10 overs were sort of give the first hour to the batsman, we'll take the next 6. And the back 10 was making up for the first 10. So they've got to completely recalibrate. Maybe that's why Uthappa is there. Maybe they want Raina to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. First thing is that if you do not have Uthappa open the batting, he's not effective. If you look across the 11-12 seasons of IPL where he's only performed when he's batting up there. So if you bat up front with him, you start with Uthappa, Rituraj, or Uthappa, Faf, and Rituraj somewhere in that order. Honestly, at this point in time, given the fact that he's not played at all, I'm wondering how they fit Suresh Raina into this top order. They'd love to have him there, but is he match ready at all? Because at this point in time, it doesn't look like he's match ready. The second thing I want to ask is, if he was not injured and he was there, why didn't he report early to the Chennai Nets? Dhoni has been here for at least 3 or 4 weeks. He's been practicing in Chennai. Yeah. So why? I mean, at this point in time, the one thing given last season would have been for Raina to show intent. Unfortunately, so far that intent has not been seen. He's a great player. He's one of the greats of the IPL. So I hope he does something out there. The other interesting thing I want to say is that, is somebody like Gautam going to fall, 9.25 crores? Is this what I call the Pawan Negi Shivam Dubey curse, which is that, young domestic player, because of the dynamics of an auction, suddenly you get a whole lot of money and you're not even really a certainty, 100% in the 11. So it's something that, plays upon you. And I'm not sure where Krishnappa Gautam's head is at, but it's not easy. It's not easy for young.
I don't think that an MS Dhoni or a Stephen Fleming would let anyone on that auction table go that high if they didn't have solid plans for Gautam. Just from what I've seen in the last 13 years. Harsha, your thought on that?
Also, I think if you see last year, they had all these left armers. They had Jadeja, they had Mitch Santner, they had Karan Sharma, they had Imran Tahir. All these guys were all turning the ball away. They didn't have a single person who was turning the ball into the right hander or away from the lefty. So they wanted an off spinner. And ideally, you want an off spinner who can bat. Moeen Ali does that, plus he's left-handed. And then Krishnabha Gautam does that. So maybe they wanted one of those and they went and bought two, so that in case the overseas player mix is difficult to manage, they've still got one who they can play. But I'm still curious about where they'll fit them in, because Joy is absolutely right. If Raina is blocking one spot, Raidu has been a wholehearted cricketer for Chennai over the years. He's also not played a lot of cricket, but he's been a wholehearted cricketer. Now Raina plays, Raidu plays, Dhoni plays. Then you got a combination of Faf, Ruturaj and Uttapa opening the batting. Then that leaves only a number 6, which is Jadeja.
Yep.
Then you can only play one. You can only play one of Karan or Bravo or Moeen or Gautam.
Yep. Correct. Yeah, you're right. Because your other spots are perhaps taken by Lungi, Shardul and Deepak, right? You're probably going to play 3 of them.
And so you want to play Imran Tahir.
Will he though?
I looked at Imran Tahir's numbers after he became officially geriatric. And he's still taking 1.3, 1.4 wickets per game. Still, the only thing that might change is if he's playing at Mumbai and takes a wicket, he may not run as far as Churchgate. He might run only as far as the wicket.
He's going to go touch the water and come back. Also, he's in complete danger. If he takes a wicket, he's in solid danger of breaking the bio bubble. Right?
But I have also one other advantage that Imran Tahir might have, which is that given what North Indian and Pakistani cricketers are wont to do, if he shows his real age, he could be eligible for the vaccine as well. Boss sees I don't care. I got the vaccine. I'm sorted.
It's a good point. It really is. Well, so there's a few interesting things to do for Chennai. There's a few interesting things. There's also Chiteshwar Pujara there. There people are talking about his 40-ball 100 that he had hit in Mushtaq Ali, which was that last year, I think, or the year before. And they're talking about that and they're bringing that out. You don't know whether he will play or not, but it's a very interesting point. I don't know. I'd even go as far as saying maybe Faf is not guaranteed a spot in that top order. Yeah, you never know.
Yeah.
You never know. Here are the rating points. There's a bit of confusion there, but you know that finding order in chaos is something that MS Dhoni does. But the fact that it is an aging team, it's an 11 that is not settled, and Josh Hazelwood is not there, is perhaps the reason why the scores are not that high. I'll tell you one thing, though. On behalf of the three of us here and Dooley, who's watching from an undisclosed bio bubble somewhere, is that we would love to be proven wrong here, because Chennai is not just about wins and losses. Chennai is about an emotion, and purely because of one guy. One guy who is just a tank. He's a battle ram. He just keeps going on, and whenever he surprises, it's just a fantastic story. Human story. Forget sport. It's just a human story. Would you like to see him signing off with the trophy? Hell yeah, of course. So therefore, we'd love to be proven wrong with this. All right.
How do you know signing off?
Well, I'm just going odds on. We just say it. My thing is, if I just say it every year, 1 year I'll be right.
It's like that old thing, a clock that doesn't work is right twice a day, right?
There you go, right? Everybody just keeps saying it. Will this be his last year? I would love for him to play for another 4 or 5 years, right? But, as they say, time and tide. I'm not endorsing a washing powder. I'm just giving you a saying from a long time ago. Time and tide wait for no one. Neither shall we on this show as we move on to our next team. Who are we discussing now? I think that we should talk about Bangalore. Bangalore fans are all going, where is our team? Where is our cup? Where is our joy? Could this be the year? Could it?
Joy is in Gurugram.
Joy is waiting in Gurugram. And their cup perhaps is also waiting in other places, not in Bangalore. Let's see where they are going to be playing this time. Let's see where this Bangalore juggernaut goes from one place to the other. Not playing in Chinnaswamy. As we had said, a negative win-loss record over there. So they don't mind at all the fact that they're not playing in Bangalore. They've got 3-day games, of course. The colored ones are the day games. All teams only have 2 or 3, perhaps. They're playing their first few games in Chennai. They've got Mumbai, they've got Ahmedabad, and then they've got Kolkata. So they keep moving. They're playing 5 games in Kolkata right towards the end. Let's have a look at their squad. They did a few changes as well, as they do. Yes. They have Mike Hessen, who's over there. And what did they do at the auction? Let's have a look at the team that they have. There you go. The big buy, of course, was Glenn Maxwell, who they got. Young Finn Allen, who everyone's very excited about. But the 2 big ones, of course, Glenn Maxwell and Kyle Jamieson. And that between them is what, 25 crores for the 2 of them? 29 crores for the 2 of them. They're definitely playing these 2 then, aren't they? And then AB, there's your third. Joy?
No, absolutely. I think they're going to play those 3. But again, Jamieson is a result of, what auctions do to players. And they missed out on Morris, and they thought that, they'd buy back Morris at a particular price. And instead of getting him back for 10 crores, to their horror, it just spiraled to a 16, 17 crore price, which they could no longer afford. And then felt that they had to replace him. Their problem, of course, is the same. It's always been the same. A is that end bowler, and B is that sort of late middle order. What happens post, the Virat Kohli, AB de Villiers times? And I don't think hugely big steps have been taken in that direction. The one thing they've done, though, is they've got a wily old pro out there who might play a few more games than you think, and that's Daniel Christian. And Daniel Christian is one of those 37, 38-year-old journeyman cricketers, played around the world. The one thing he knows what to do is he knows how to win. And, pitches like Chennai, which are not particularly fast, they're playing in Chennai to start with, might just suit somebody like him and the kind of, cricket that he brings to the game, which is smart cricket, sharp cricket, just playing the conditions, cutting the ball, seaming the ball a bit, not too much pace. It might suit him much more than it would suit somebody like Jamieson, who's just not used to that many conditions outside of New Zealand and, fast pitches. So Jamieson looks a very exciting prospect, but how much he's played in the subcontinent and how much he'll be able to adapt here is, it's a huge question.
And what has happened after that auction? It's been quite interesting because there's been, nothing really crazy that has happened in limited overs. These are the T20s that he played against Australia. Just got the 1 wicket. These are things that can play on you, Harsha. They shouldn't, I guess, and people shouldn't speak about them. But, he knows. Everybody knows. It's one of those things you don't say. It's one of those pressures that you hope are not on the player because he didn't choose the price. It's a free market economy. This is what they thought he was worth. But justifying the worth and justifying the faith is a human emotion that is completely understood.
It is. The only thing I will say, because Dooley is not on this program, is that some of those grounds that Jamieson would have played those games on would have been a little bigger than my room. Not as big as your room, but they would have been a little bigger than this. So that's the only thing I'll say in favor of Kyle Jamieson. But why did you buy?
Good thing he's not playing in Bangalore then, right? Good thing.
Why did you buy Jamieson? You thought tall guy, bounce, hit the deck. He'll be good bowling at the death, because that was a big issue for them. And specifically for the death last year, they bought Kane Richardson. But last year, Richardson did a Stark and a Hazelwood. He didn't turn up. And then Zampa came and bowled well. So Zampa's back in the side. But if Kane Richardson is in your side as a specialist death bowler, and you can't leave 29 crores sitting on the bench. So if you want to play Richardson and Jamieson both, then where do you play Christian? Because you will play. The reason you've got you've got to the hype of Maxwell is you want Kohli and AB to think, oh, hey,
yeah,
it's not après moi. No, actually, though that après moi deluge is in a different context, but they want someone after that.
Yeah.
So I think so. You want to play Maxwell. Also, in those first 3 games, Maxwell will give you 2-3 overs in Chennai. So you can't play both Richardson and Jamieson and hope to play Christian. So they've got. It's funny. They've got lots of options with overseas players, but the Indian players have not yet solved their problem. Is Siraj going to bowl at the death again? Is Saini going to bowl at the death again? Is Chahal going to be back in form? Because Chahal's sort of plateaued a little in the last few months. So the bowling still needs to sort itself. But I think the big thing they've done, which something that I think they should have done long ago, is have Virat Kohli at the top of the order.
So Virat will be opening, of course, with Devdutt Padikkal, and he has said that he will be opening. And Joy, the one thing, we touched upon this briefly a little earlier, and Bangalore has always had this chronic problem: great squad, but not an effective 11, right? Somehow you always want that Bangalore in a squad just gives themselves lesser choices. It's a well-documented fact that international teams travel with 16, 17, in the bio bubble perhaps more, but you're traveling with maybe 15 or 16. But here you have 24, 25 players. It is difficult with that 7-4 spread to get a proper correct 11 that you back. And Bangalore has always had that problem, and that's why they just keep chopping and changing. So it's, chicken and egg. Is it not the correct 11 and that's why they chop and change? Or is it they chop and change and therefore they don't get a correct 11? But the fact is that that's what happens to them every time. And now that we're talking about these options, this seems like a very legit fear for this season as well.
Yeah, I think the one thing they've got to tell themselves is that if Virat is opening, he's going to open for at least 10 matches. That, okay, 10 matches, Virat Kohli is going to open the batting. Because there is no point, what, they've chopped and changed early. I think, given what's happened, it's time to put some stakes in the ground. Let's put it this way.
Yeah.
When they chopped and changed in the past, okay, it didn't work for them. Okay, if they don't chop and change, it still may not work for them, but at least it's something they haven't tried. And at least there'll be a certain amount of calmness in the squad. Yeah. I mean, I remember squads, in KKR, when you had a situation where players didn't know they were playing overnight. And if that happens to a player, what happens is that insecurity spreads to the whole team. So if they turn around and said, let's be calm. This is our 11. We're going to play this 11 for these many matches. We're going to try it out. Barring injury, we're going to just try and see what's going to happen. Then we'll evaluate. Calm down, guys. Let's do it this way. And say that Virat's going to open for at least 10 because he's that good a player. It's not even 5. Give him 10 matches at the top and say your best players get the maximum balls to face. I think if they bring that calmness, maybe they can make a difference. And maybe they can just turn on and say that, we are not playing in Bangalore. Maybe that's why this is our year. I mean, we don't need to play there.
It works on many fronts. It works on many fronts, Gaurav, because one of their problems has always been the middle overs and keeping wickets and scoring runs in the middle overs. And if Virat is batting after 6 overs, then he's already set. He's already hit a few boundaries. He can control those middle overs really well. But they need to give Virat that time. Virat cannot go out and start slogging because then you don't need Virat Kohli. He's Virat Kohli. He doesn't need to go and slog. And that's why the people who play alongside Virat Kohli in that power play are going to be very crucial. Is Devdutt Padikkal going to be that player who tees off a little bit? Otherwise, my feeling is there is this guy at number 3 who they can just throw in and say, go and do what you want. Because
let's bring the squad back up. Sorry, let's just bring the squad back up while you say that.
And I think that player is Mohammad Azharuddin. And I said Azharuddin because good South Indian says Azharuddin. So I saw him play one game only, so I don't have enough sample size. But he could be this guy who you just say, listen, go and do what you want. If you give us 20 of 10, or you give us 25 of 12, that's perfect for us because it gives Virat Kohli the time to stroke those boundaries early on with the field restrictions. You don't have to play the big shots, and then Kohli is ready to control the middle overs, leaving AB and Maxwell to fire. I think that is their game plan.
He's your wicket keeper anyway, right? Wouldn't you play him as your wicket keeper? Would AB still be?
He could. I mean, he could keep, but I think everyone is looking at AB and saying,
Sir, please. Sir, please, one more season, sir. But AB is looking at them and saying, sir, my age and my back, sir, please. And also, I tell you something, AB in the outfield is just a delight to watch. Right, Joy? He will give you 1 or 2 moments in that season which you will play back for years.
Yeah. He's as they say, they describe him, he's a human highlight reel waiting to happen. With the bat or on the field, he's a human highlight reel. It's just going to happen. You just put him there and he's going to deliver for you. And, that's the thing. See, what they missed out is that people like AB and Virat have not played with the joy and carefreeness that they naturally have when they're playing for their countries. They're their best when they are just there. They've been looked, the last few years, you look at them, they have that sort of weight of responsibility on their backs. And if Maxwell does nothing but allow them that freedom to say, we're just going to go there and whack the ball and play our natural game. I think even if Maxwell can achieve that much to say, I'm batting at 6, I'll stabilize you for you guys. Even if mentally they feel better with that, it's going to be a huge difference to this team.
Let's see what the points tally is. Did you say next year? What did you say?
This year. This year. No.
Please.
This year. RCB fans, this year.
Just
But
why do you build me up, buttercup? let's have a look at the rating points again. थोड़ा क्यों तूने मेरा ये दिल तोड़ा? As you can see, Simon Dool very bullish on them. Me perhaps a little more. Harsha and Joy at 6, and they have given you their reasons for that. Let's move on. Joy has very clearly told you it's not even 6, it's perhaps -6 because next year is the year. Well, let's go on.
He's not going to live this down. This is going to be like Joy watching his own programs. Everybody from Bangalore will be on. Do you want to give out Joy's WhatsApp number?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, that's good. What they probably will do is no more drinks for you. Remember, they control that. No more drinks for you anymore. That's it. They're just cutting you off right at the source. Well, let's have a look at our next team. Who are we looking at now? It's Hyderabad. Hyderabad is a good team. It's good chances. We have Mr. Bhogle here, of course, who pretends not to support them at all. But inside, of course, there is a little bit of extra heartbeat is on for hometown. Right? Little chai chat biscuit is happening whenever they do well, right?
सिर्फ जुबान बोलता हूँ मैं जुबान बोले तो
दिल भी बोलते हैं नहीं
कौन बोला दिल कौन बोला जॉय बोला
नहीं I said
हाँ मैं वही सोच रहा हूँ जॉय डेस्परेट है वो नेक्स्ट ईयर बोलने के बाद मैं भी कुछ बोल रहा हूँ बोल के
let's have a look at their squad and their eternal dilemma of Mr. 700 Kane Williamson. Right? There you go. I'll let you talk over the squad, Harsha.
I've looked at where they're playing. They start by playing 5 games in Chennai. So if they're playing 5 games in Chennai, you really do want Kane Williamson in that side because if he's coming in at 4, then Williamson is controlling the end. Until Williamson is there, hope is there. Williamson is like this fountain of hope. He's always delivering hope. So I think Williamson has to play because the problem always has been, can we play all 3? Can we play Warner, Bairstow and Williamson, all 3? I don't know because I think they want to play Rashid Khan. And I think if they're playing in Chennai, they want a second spinner. Look what happens outside of Rashid Khan in that side, Joy. Can you find another spinner? Yes, you've got Shahbaz Nadeem. Yes, you've got Suchit that they've brought back in. They've got Abhishek Sharma, they've got Mujibur Rahman, but they have to play Nabi. In my view, if it's a slowish track, they've got to play Nabi. And if they play Nabi and Rashid, then they've got only 2 of those top 3 to play. So my feeling is for the first 4 or 5 games in Chennai, they'll want the second spinner. And to me, Nabi is a bit like Shakib. He's never really been allowed, or well, he's never really found himself in the IPL. So that is what I thought they would do, go into the second spinner for the first few games. But I'll tell you what, the Bairstow is batting well. And just because they're worried about injuries to Williamson and Warner, they've brought in Jason Roy and said, look, if that happens, we've got another guy there.
Yeah, I mean, they've got enough problems with openers anyway that they've decided to throw Jason Roy into the mix, right? I mean, you've always had this issue going, if Bairstow and Warner play at the top, then Kane Williamson can't play because you're getting Rashid Khan or maybe a Holder in the middle or a Nabi in the middle, and you need somebody with experience there in the middle. And then Kane Williamson doesn't end up playing. And now to add to that confusion, they've got Jason Roy there as well. Who's a gun? I mean, any team would say Roy and Bairstow, yes, please, Joy.
No, absolutely. But I think at this point, I completely agree with Harsha. Nabi has to play the first few games. If you see the last year's run also, they were most successful when they played 2 batsmen, Rashid Khan and the all-rounder. And the all-rounder in that case was the fast-bowling all-rounder, Jason Holder, batting at 6. Because what they're not getting is with their young Indian cricketers, they are not getting value at that. 5, 6, 7, they're not getting stability. Somebody like a Holder going out there. Now what they can do is they can get a Nabi to go in out there. But that still means that Kane Williamson sadly does not play in this 11. And that's, if you're playing in Chennai, the first 5 matches, I can't see any way in which they can fit in Kane Williamson into the 11 and justifiably drop somebody of the quality of Nabi. That's one. But the big difference for them this year over last year, 2 things I think. One is definitely the return of Bhuvneshwar Kumar. Bhuvneshwar Kumar is their strike bowler. They have lived and died with his form. His not being there was a huge factor. Bhuvi coming back is fantastic. And Siddharth Kaul is also in a bit of form, which is good for them. So Siddharth Bhuvi coming back means that fast bowling option, that domestic bowling option. Natarajan has come so much up in Bhuvi's absence. Now, suddenly you're beginning to get some sort of a shape to your bowling. And that's great news for them.
Yeah, and Sandeep
squad again. Yeah.
And Sandeep Sharma. So actually, I'm not sure Siddharth Kaul will get a game early on because they'll start with Bhuvi, Nattu and Sandeep, and then Rashid. So if all four of them are doing well, that's a really solid bowling core there. Then for your fifth, you can look at maybe a little bit of Vijay Shankar, a little bit of Abhishek Sharma. But Joy is absolutely right. All those youngsters that they invested in, people like Priyam Garg, Abhishek Sharma, all these boys Samad early on.
Samad.
Samad, I hope they just play Samad and say, Chalo, better go and do what you want. Go and hit the ball out of the ground. And just leave him at 6 or 7 to go and finish games.
So interesting. There's a Khalil there as well. Toast of the town, playing for India. We were talking about that. And now suddenly you feel like he might not even get picked as one of the 4 top domestic fast bowlers for his Hyderabad team. Let's talk about Manish Pandey as well. And then I'll come to Kedar Jadhav, who is also in this squad. Remember, it's very weird to see Kedar Jadhav here, but he's there as well. Harsha's pointed him out as the potential X factor for this team and comes in with the ball as well. So, very clever when it comes to that. But Manish Pandey, right? Manish Pandey, they definitely need one cracker season from him. He's probably out of contention from India. Was again somebody who collected a lot of frequent flyer miles traveling with the Indian team, and now is probably out of contention over there. But they need this. They need this from him, Joy.
Yeah, let's not forget that the first Indian to score a century in the IPL was Manish Pandey. So he's been around. It's difficult, because he's not been that consistent, and others have gone on to much bigger things. It's difficult to realize how long Manish Pandey has been playing, but he's been there from that first IPL. Look, last year was his best season. He got 425 runs. From 396 odd, he moved to 425 runs. But Manish Pandey, with the money they paid for him and the responsibility they've given him, he needs to be a 500, 550 player. If he has a 500, 550 year, they play Samad, they fix Samad at 6. Vijay Shankar comes in the middle. I think this is a formidable team. I think they have all the elements. And look, that Kedar Yadav again is a very useful buy. If nothing else, these youngsters are not working. Stick in Kedar Yadav. He'll get you 2-3 overs of the ball. They're playing 5 matches in Chennai. Now think in Chennai that they have Rashid, Kedar Jadhav, they have Nabi, maybe one more spinner player, Shahbaz. I mean, they have a terrific bowling attack for all the team, all the conditions in which they are playing. It's just their batting needs to click.
Gaurav makes a very valid point, though, about Manish Pandey. You looked at those numbers. Strike rate 121, average 29. His Basra's 150. 150 is not good enough for a top-order Indian player. Top-order Indian players, you pay through your nose to get an international top-order Indian player in your side. So Manish Pandey has been given everything. He's given number 3. He's got to deliver 550 runs this year. Minimum 500. That's his qualifying cutoff. He's got to deliver 500, 550 for them this year. He does that. He'll take a lot of pressure off everybody else. The reason I said Kedar Jadhav is I think they've got a really good top 4 and they've got someone like a Samad Nabi behind him. Kedar Jadhav is free. I mean, if Stephen Fleming ever sees the blog I did where I said Kedar Jadhav could be the X factor, he would splutter over all his drinks and say, mate, I wouldn't mind if he had done a little bit of that for Chennai. He didn't do anything for Chennai. But I don't know, he's got a good Vijay Hazare. It's just an instinct. I mean, there's no logic to suggest he could be the X factor, just an instinct.
Well, would that happen? If that happens, well, here's the thing. The Hyderabad team looks really solid. I think, again, for them, perhaps the advantage is that there is a bowling unit that is informed. Remember, when they won the title, it was their bowling that won them the title. They would defend scores with less than a run a ball, right? They would do that. If they can get that going again this time, they've got enough batting might to really get, consistently average scores right through. If their bowlers can defend that they are really, really a formidable team. They're a team to watch out for. I think that's what probably the numbers say as well. I think the rating points that all of us have given. There's me, I've given them an 8. I would have given them a 9 if Kane Williamson was playing. But anyway, this is Kane Williamson's last season with Hyderabad. He's going to captain Chennai next year. What? What did I just say? What?
It's called the curse of the next year. It's called the curse of the next year. Already 66% of the panel has been afflicted by it.
Here's my point. All right, here's my point. If there is going to be some time that MS, and it's impossible to think about, but MS hands over captaincy to somebody in that yellow jersey, right? He will still be a part of running the team. I'm absolutely sure. There's no way that the city of Chennai will let him leave. For those 2 months, they'll probably have him under house arrest in Chennai. He can't leave. If you were to think in world cricket right now, good leader, calm, an addition to the duo of Fleming and Dhoni in terms of temperament, that there's only one guy, and underutilized by his current team.
You make a good case.
Why writing someone else's book? Why are you writing a book for somebody else? I mean, you can say by Gaurav Kapur.
What do you mean, huh?
By Gaurav Kapur, bol do. Only thing is, what title will you give him? None of us speak Tamil, so we'll have to find a title for him. But till then, he is Hyderabad ki shaan Ken mein. Ken bhai.
Oh, very upset. Very upset. Hyderabad ki shaan kidhar aap khilate hi nahi usko. Make him play.
अरे बड़े भाई लास्ट ईयर साहा ओपन करा जब विलियमसन ही था वो मेन प्लेऑफ में विलियमसन ही था इंटर बैटिंग कर रहा था उन्होंने नहीं करे तो मिल गए थे मिट्टी में.
You have to make him play 16 games. देखा
मेरे टीम में पहले 5 मैच मेरे टीम में है उन्होंने.
No, he has to be there, definitely. And if he's there, then I take my rating point from 8 to 8.5. Little jump. Incentive. देखो तो कितना बड़ा दिल है. Next team. Let's have a look at the next team. Who do we have coming up next? Joy is very upset that we have still not spoken about his team. So I wanted to wait till we were 1 hour in.
I'll see you in 7-8 minutes. See you. Bye.
Yeah, I thought we'd just get a couple of coffees. I'll also get some water. Here's the Calcutta team and their schedule. Sir, please carry on. कौन है? बात कर.
Absolutely.
Please, sir. Carry on.
No, it's an interesting team. It's very interesting by the kind of people they picked up. I mean, Harbhajan Singh, Shakib Al Hasan. Shakib is an interesting one, and I really am saying that, is this the year that Sunil Narine, finally one of the greats of the IPL, is this the year that he becomes a fringe player? Because if Shakib has to come into the team, the only place that he can really come in is that sort of batting all-rounder up front, which is Sunil Narine's position, because you have to play Pat Cummins, and a lot of Andre Russell will definitely play, and then you're looking at Owen Morgan, who's a third out there. So Sunil Narine and Shakib, one of them will play. I don't think both of them can play, and that is going to be a very interesting conundrum. Is he going to be the player? The only worry that I have about this KKR is it's nicely loaded. The engine room is well loaded. I mean, so Morgan, people like Morgan, Cummings, Andre Russell, they'll finish off spectacularly. But no team has succeeded. No team has won the IPL without having a really solid and successful top three. Now, if your top three is one of these four, it's Gill, Nitish Rana, Rahul Tripathi, and maybe Shakib or Sunil Narine. If these are the 4-5 players in condition for those three places, are they good enough to win you a championship? That, I think, is a crucial question, because I think the back order is enough. I think their bowling options are decent enough because they've got a lot of bowling now. They have a lot of all-rounders, therefore they have variety in their bowling. It's that top three that bothers me. Every other top three in the IPL is strong.
Yeah, but that's because their three best batsmen, Morgan, Karthik and Russell, all want to play at 6. They don't want to come ahead. It's just baffling how they don't want to come ahead, right? You perhaps, Harsha, would want to play them 4, 5, 6. Yes, the problem of top three is still there. I would perhaps even say play them 3, 4, 5, but let's say you play them 4, 5, 6. You play Nitish Rana at 3, who I think is now back and training with the squad. You have Shubham as your opener. Then who is your second opener there? Are you going with Rahul Tripathi? Because your foreign slots, 2 of them are taken in the top 6, which is Morgan and Russell. Or do you slam a Shakib in there at number 3? What are you doing there, Harsha? Because that means you can only play Pat Cummins or Loki, one of them.
Yeah. Since you mentioned Nitish Rana, I must tell you a little story. I opened my door at 8:45 this morning. It rang. I'm in isolation in quarantine. And there were these guys sitting with the swabs. And I said, this was my 4th test in 9 days. I said, come on, 4 tests in 9 days. They said, sir, Nitish Rana ne na 11 din mein 10 kiye test. Wow. So I said, I think Nitish Rana should open. I think one of their problems was that they always let Sunil Narine be the floater, saying you go for it. If it comes off, it comes off. Sunil Narine's success came in part because people were utilizing spin against Chris Lynn and Sunil Narayan was partaking of the benefit of that.
Yeah.
But now, if they, as you said, 4, 5, 6 all want to bat in the second half of the innings,
Yeah.
then as Joy says, the top half has to be solid. The top half cannot be lagi to lagi. Top half has now to be solid. That's why I thought Shakib in the top at 3. He went and batted 3 in a 50-over World Cup and made 500 runs, something like that. He was my player of the tournament. I mean, eventually it was eventually it was Williamson, and that was deserved too. But Shakib made a lot of runs at 3. So what Shakib at 3 does is it allows you to open with Nitish Rana, who will go for it as well, and allow Shubman Gill to play himself in. The only issue with that, with Shakib at 3, is that you have Rana left-hander, Shakib left-hander, Morgan left-hander. So they'll have to break that up in some form. But Joy is right. You cannot play both Sunil Narayan and Shakib. And Kolkata is a team that is steeped in gratitude and tradition and whatever, much like the city. And so they might say Sunil Narayan has to play. But Sunil Narayan is not the bowler that he was. Sunil Narayan is now sort of 4 overs 30 for maybe 1 wicket here and there kind of bowler. So if he's doing that, Shakib can do the same thing. That's my view of this KKR team. And therefore, as I said in my blog, it'll leave one number 7 vacant. Either you can say, I'll play Cummins at 7 and fill my side with bowlers. But if you've got Shakib, Russell and Karthik in your top 6, it means you've got keeper and 7 overs there in your top 6.
Yeah.
Then you play a floater. That is why I brought out this theory of the umbrella man, saying what Badrinath did for CSK is what Karun Nair does for KKR. If you're 20 for 2, Karun Nair comes out to bat. If you're 80 for 2, you tell Karun Nair, thank you very much, take some catches in the deep.
Yeah, interesting. Umbrella man. I like the concept. Let's have a look at...
Barish hui to chhata chahiye na? Wo chhata,
absolutely. Why did you break it down? It was sounding like a management concept before. Then you just broke it down into something so practical. खुद ही आपने dilute कर दिया.
मुझे लगा दिल्ली वालों को बारिश का क्या पता, इसीलिए.
सही बात है sir. You're absolutely right. You're so right. Let's have a look at what our rainmakers have said about the chances of Kolkata here. 7s from me and Harsha. 7 from Simon Dool as well. And something has happened. Either we've got it upside down. I don't know. Kuch to what?
I have 4
Did you mean to say, you meant to say 9, right? So why did you put
No. I had 4 teams on 6. I have 1 team on 5.5. And I have a couple of teams on top of that. All my marking is very conservative. So if you're looking at KKR 6, there are 4 teams on 6 at the same level.
No.
I mean,
No.
You know what people have done right now? No, people who are watching it on their iPads and their phones have gone. They've like turned it
around. Joy is playing the reverse jinx game. I'll say 6, and then they'll do well. Joy, but you have to answer one question. Most important question that is besieged Bengal these days. What is that? Khela hobe or not hobe? What is it?
Khala hobe.
Khela
hobe is basically, that's I think one of the political parties is saying,
correct,
time to play. We shall play the game. So that's what it is.
Khela hobe.
I thought it was I thought it was this is a banana. I thought it was Kela hobe. That's what I thought.
Look, this particular Bengali mispronunciations are not a good idea. I mean, having Gujarati speaking in Bengali is a bad idea. Having Bengali speak in Hindi is an even worse idea. So, I mean, the only thing that is happening in this election is language is getting massacred from all sides. One victim is knowledge. If you hear that revolving sound, that's Tagore turning in his grave slowly. Tagore, Premchand, they're all turning in their grave.
Okay, let's have a look at our next team. We've got Punjab. They have changed their name. Will they change their game? Will they do a Delhi this time? Remember, this is another team that has never won the title. They've only made the playoffs twice. They made one final, of course, which was in 2014. So it really was back in history. But let's have a look at their team. Let's have a look at their squad, rather, and what it looks like. Well, there you go. KL Rahul, still their captain. We've got a top order that is very strong, made even stronger by the number 1 T20 player in the world, David Malan, joining them. There was Chris Gayle, who was in roaring form in the UAE, as was Nicholas Puran. They've also got Moses Enriques in the squad. They've got some good foreigners. And of course, they've got a Veer Zara situation going on, Joy, because Preeti's team has Shah Rukh in it.
Prithvi's team is Shah Rukh, and apparently he's batting really well in the nets. And don't be surprised to see him walk out ahead of people like Mandeep Singh and Mandeep Sarfraz. Him, they all playing the same position. But the critical one in their team right now, which is what their biggest problem was last year, is surprisingly enough Moses Henriques. Because their problem is that they are one of those teams that have very few all-rounders. Chris Gayle has stopped bowling. Their bowlers bowl, their batsmen bat.
Yeah.
And there are very few. Jordan can hit a few, but he's not really a bona fide all-rounder. So they need, their biggest problem was that if one of their bowlers went for a few runs, they could never replace him. And that's going to be the problem. They have to therefore play Henriques. If they play Henriques, you have a situation where you're definitely going to play Gayle, Pooran, Henriques, and that leaves you with basically one fast bowling position you can do.
Yeah, let's pull that squad up again and see what they've done. And first, let's just go with the openers. Are you doing, Harsha, are you going stick with Mayank and Rahul as the opener, or do you want to throw Gayle into the mix there?
No, I saw Gayle playing a few games in the other leagues. He batted 3 there as well. So I think Gayle is now made peace with the fact that he'll be 3, and you just cannot leave out Nicholas Pooran. I mean, the whole world is a fan of Nicholas Pooran. So Pooran at 4. I looked at Henriques. My issue with playing Henriques is he cannot be a 4-over bowler. They'll make the same mistake that they made with Jimmy Neesham if they use him as a 4-overs bowler. They've got to use Henriques as a 6th bowler. Now, if they use Henriques as a 6th bowler, they still have to play 5 bowlers. And the same problem arises, the same problem that Joy mentioned, which is none of those 5 are going to are batting for you. So even if you play Henriques, what Henriques does is he give you the 6th bowler, but he's still got to be in the top 6 as well. So you still got to look at a Jordan or a Jai Richardson at number 7.
Yeah.
So that is going to be their problem. If they had an Indian doing what Henriques does, that would have changed the side. And so maybe Shah Rukh, I don't know how much he bowls, but maybe Shah Rukh Khan over there. He spins a good story in another avatar, but maybe over there.
Yeah. Let's have a look at where their games are going to be, where Punjab is going to be playing, and see the Chris Gayle factor there as well, because enjoys the small grounds, enjoys hitting them out of the park. Of course, they're finishing with their last few games in Bangalore, and that's somewhere where the top 3 will love playing. All Mayank, Rahul, Chris Gayle will all like playing there. Pooran will not mind as well, and it's almost like a home ground, right? I mean, Punjab's jersey is also looking a bit like Bangalore's early jersey. They've got the guys from Bangalore as well, who are just going to play in Chinnaswamy, say, home ground, man, come on, let's have some fun. They have a chance of ending pretty strong with that going in their favor.
Yeah, I think they'll bat well towards the end. These guys are the guys who they have to be the kind of team whose top 4 is going to give them 220 and win games like that. 200, 220 and win games, because they're not a very versatile side. They don't have that many all-round performers. They don't have that much depth in their batting. So in one way, their job is very clearly cut out. They have to. The top order has to deliver for them. And it's a very, very informed, very, very good top order. I mean, those top 4 players are excellent. I mean, Pooran, Gayle, Mayank Agarwal, KL Rahul, 4 like that to start your innings is as good a top 4 as any team in the IPL. And their top 3 bowlers are as good as anyone round. It's just that in the middle, I'd love to see a bit more versatility. Otherwise, it just puts him against the wall in a lot of situations. And I'm really looking forward to Shah Rukh Khan, because apparently in the nets, there have been a lot of reports he's been doing really well for them.
Well, I'm a little worried about Rahul. I think the world of KL Rahul. I think I think KL Rahul was just born to bat, and I think you just leave him alone to bat. I was very concerned last year when he said strike rate is overrated. I'm just as concerned this year that Shubman Gill is saying strike rate is overrated. It is not. Strike rate is not overrated. And if you are a KL Rahul, you're born to up that strike rate. If you're a KL Rahul and you make 69 or 55 balls, you've lost the game for your side.
Yeah.
You've put so much pressure on everybody else. So I really do hope KL Rahul doesn't want to become this innings builder, because this innings builder is not what he was born to be. He has extraordinary skills, and he shouldn't be giving up those skills to be an innings builder. So I want KL Rahul to fly at the top.
Here's also the thing, right? The problem for Punjab is they've not got any kind of solid former captains there. Like all the teams have, almost a leadership unit. KL Rahul's not an international captain. And with him also, there are no international captains, correct, in that squad. Whereas all the other teams have very solid leadership units, at least on field. So that perhaps is something that looked last year like it was really weighing him down. And it can weigh him down in expression and behind the stumps, but you don't want him to weigh him down in front of the stumps when he bats, because as Harsha said, when he's flowing free, he's just one of the most beautiful sights in the world. So this responsibility weighing him down is something that Punjab would want to make sure is that burden's not on his shoulders. What are the ratings that we've given them? Their chances in this tournament for particularly these reasons, I guess. There are 6s across from Joy, Simon and me, and Harsha's gone with a 5.5 for Punjab. Leaves us with one team. Let's go with the team that has made a good move pre-season. I like it. Sanju Samson been made captain of the Rajasthan team. There's been a little confusion with captaincy in the last few seasons. There's been Ajinkya, there's been Steve, it's been going up and down. I think this time they've decided that that's it. They're in for the long haul. They're in keeping a supremely talented player and, of course, keeping him as a captain. Let's have a look at their squad as well and what they have done this year. Of course, we'll really miss Harsha, as anyone would, not having Jofra Archer there up front.
Joy is putting his hand up. Come on, Joy. Come on.
No. I just want to say that one place where actually an announcement by another captain has made a difference. The biggest news of this team has been an announcement by another captain, which is Owen Morgan turning around and saying that, Stokes and Butter are going to open. And suddenly you hear this from, KKR hearing that, okay, RR is going to open. And that actually changes a whole lot of things, because if Stokes and Butler open, that means the way they've structured their team is going to look very different, because Stokes and Butler opening means they're going to get Jaiswal. So again, this is going to be a team which I think is going to have a great top and a great bottom. That means great top 3 batsmen.
You want to revert that, Joy? Do you just want to revert that a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay, great top order and a great death bowling attack. Perhaps that would be more appropriate under the circumstances.
What I want to know is the captain of England telling a largely English-owned franchise, this is what will work best for me at the T20 World Cup, having Butler and Stokes opening the batting, because it does not work for Rajasthan Royals. The moment you have Butler and Stokes opening the batting, I hope they're not both opening the batting, because neither wants to bat down. So if Butler and Stokes open the batting, Samson at 3. Wow, Butler, Stokes, Samson, multi-starter, boom, finished, trailer. Uske baad kaun hai? Mahipal at 4.
Let's bring it up. Let's bring up the squad. Let's see, who do you have? You probably get David Miller. You have an experience.
Lomror, Parag and Dubey. Suddenly you're down to Lomror, Parag and Dubey, because you can't play David Miller there because you want 2 fast bowlers. You don't have enough Indian fast bowlers there. You have Karthik Tyagi. You have if Unadkat does well, it makes a huge difference to the side. But again, if you see where they're playing Mumbai, Kolkata, Bangalore, a lot of games. He might get a game in at Delhi. But then they need 2 overseas fast bowlers. If they need 2 overseas fast bowlers, then they can't play Miller.
You're playing Morris and Fizz.
No, exactly. You're either playing Morris and Fizz or you're playing Morris and Archer when Archer comes back. But basically what that means is 2 fast bowlers, 2 batsmen. And if those 2 batsmen are 1 and 2, and your fast bowlers are, your 2 fast bowlers, the gap of 7 players, those 7 players are the problem.
Yeah, see, because here's the thing. You're getting Stokes and Butler to open. You're getting Samson at 3. You're getting Riyan Parag perhaps at 4, right? Showed a bit of promise, right?
Yeah.
So you play Riyan Parag at 4. You have a genuine problem. So you have Dubey at 5 then? You're playing probably Tewatia at 6 or Morris at 6. Morris, Tewatia 6, 7.
Yeah. And then you're talking about Mankande, you're talking about Karthik Tyagi,
You've got too much bowling. You've got 7 bowlers in that side then. So you don't mind beefing up the batting a little bit and keeping that number 6 as a floater.
Oh, sorry, I forgot. I forgot. There's a Yashasvi Jaiswal as well, who they opened with last year. But I guess they're not perhaps opening with him now.
So if Yashasvi Jaiswal opens, Stokes bats at 4.
Yeah.
Butler has to open in my book. So Butler opens with maybe a Jaiswal. Let's see if that's what I got in my team. If they open Butler, Stokes, then they've got Samson, Lomror, Parag, Dubey. But if they can back Jaiswal, he's not shown that he's going to change the world so far in the innings that he's played. But if they open with Butler and Jaiswal, then they can have Samson 3, Stokes 4, Dubey 5, maybe a Lomror, and then they can have Tewatia and Morris. If they get into the 13th, 14th over, they can straight away push Tewatia and Morris up. And I think that is the way it will work a little better in my view. But it depends. I mean, they might well say, look, Warner and Bairstow, look what they did. Maybe Butler and Stokes can do that for us.
Well, there you go. So, sorry, yes,
I have one point here. Just one point. Again, every team that has done successfully in one IPL has done it on the back of really good Indian talent as well. Okay, and I think again the international talent looks okay for RR. You take away Samson, you take away a couple of the other players, and you're looking at a fairly thin cupboard of Indian talent out there. And I think that's something they have to look at. 2 or 3 of those guys will have to have outstanding seasons if Rajasthan is to compete.
I mean, if no Archer is like taking Rashid out of Hyderabad, for example, or like taking a Bumrah out of Mumbai. No Archer is not a hole. No Archer is a giant cavity in there. You won't fill that. I can see on paper they would have been so excited to have Archer and Morris playing together.
Yep.
And then Archer at 8 can swing and get a quick 15-20. Is Archer going to come back? I don't know how many fish bowls he's holding. I hope he's not dropping too many more fish bowls, because that's his finger when he drops them. But if they get Archer back, wow, I'm looking differently at this side. But if Archer is not coming, I think it's tough.
Let's have a look at the rating points and see who has given what to them out of 10. Let's pull those up on your screen immediately. Well, there you go. We are just 2 lost souls living in a fishbowl. Me and Dooley together, and Harsha and Joy together. Well, there you go. 5.5s and 6s to Rajasthan for the reasons that we just claimed. What are your rating points? Let us know your rating points as well. We're very keen to know what you think. Hashtag Cricbuzz Live. Send us your tweets, and we would also like you to pick your 11 with our fantasy partner, My 11 Circle. How does that work? Let us quickly show you how you're going to pay that. You're going to win my11circle.com. You download the app, you select a game, you create your team, and you can take just a rupee and turn it into a crore. That's what you can do with every game. So that's what you can do with our fantasy partners, My 11 Circle. So do that, of course. We've given you all the tips and tricks, and we, of course, will give you more tips and tricks, as the season goes along. We, of course, will be here on Cricbuzz Live in English and in Hindi. I hope you know our Starcast. I hope that all our viewers out there just know our entire Starcast on Hindi and English. Jeez, man, you got to look at this galaxy. It is a complete galaxy of shining superstars. Well, there you go. That's our English panel.
Who's that young man? Who's that young man on the left in the blue jacket?
We're going with beauty.
He looks like a young Mel Gibson. Who's that? Who's that young Mel Gibson on the leftmost?
You had to name Mel Gibson, the controversial character, Mel Gibson.
Guy, I was trying to be nice to you. I mean,
Matt Damon bolte the. Matt Damon.
Who's that Matt Damon lookalike?
Bradley Pitts, George Clooney. There's so many other names as well. But there you go, left to right. Just help you in case you're watching it on a tiny screen. That is yours truly, unleft in blue jacket. Then Mr. Bhogle, Mr. Joy Bhattacharjya, Simon Dool, Michael Vaughan, Sean Pollock, Pomi Mbangwa, Lisa Salekar, and Gautam Bhimani. We're joining you every day on the English panel. Not all of us, because you don't have so many windows on your screen, and we're not a news channel. So there'll be 3 of those. And then that's our Hindi panel.
Shout and scream. And we don't even shout and scream. All we do, Gaurav, is we drop these little gems like RCB next year, like KKR, like turning KKR upside down.
Yeah, there you go. And that's our Hindi panel. Well, there you go. Some heavy hitters and high rollers. Let's have a look at the final rating points that we've given, just to show you that Joy has not been mean just to your team. He's pretty much been stingy across the board to every team. Difficult. He's a hard man to please. He is. These are our cumulative rating points, of course, all 4, and you know how that happens. Professor Bhattacharya, itna maths to mujhe bhi pata hai, right? You add up all 4, and then you divide by 10, right? Or do you divide by 4? What do you divide by? But there you go. Mumbai has a mean of 9, Delhi then 8, Hyderabad at 7.1, 6.8 for Bangalore, Kolkata at 6.7, Punjab 5.8, Chennai 5.8, and Rajasthan 5.7. If you're wondering what pulled your team down, we will show you a single shot of Professor Joy Bhattacharjya because he, with his conservative ratings, has pulled the entire average down for everyone.
We need to be more respectful to Joy. We need to be a little more respectful to Joy. I think we're pulling his leg too much. I mean, even when your phone rang, we said it was Joy's phone that rang only because...
Okay, guys, it's time for me to confess. It was my phone.
It was.
But this is the big breaking news. Since you said we're not a news channel, breaking news. Joy's phone rang. It wasn't him watching his own program.
Oh, God. Again.
I had to say it. I couldn't bear with the fact that the two of you will distrust each other for the rest of your lives. I had to say it.
There you go.
It's too funny. Let's have a quick look at the match that is happening tomorrow. I just want to tell all of you that it's two Shah Rukh Khan teams playing against each other. No, it's not Kolkata. I'll explain to you in just a second. It is Mumbai, who has not won an opening game since 2013, since 2012, yet they keep winning the trophy, which means हार के जीतने वाले को बाजीगर कहते हैं. And on the other side, on the other side, let me tell you, there is a team which sometimes wins and sometimes loses their first game, but in the end, the trophy is always out of their hands. So they are kabhi haan, kabhi na, right? And in the end, if you remember, Suchitra Krishnamurthy is lost by Shah Rukh Khan. Yes. See, I thought about this. I gave it some serious thought.
Since when have you been thinking about this?
Sir, since I was 12, since I watched these movies. No, I thought about it.
Cricbuzz karunga, us pe ye line bolunga.
I've been waiting for years for Mumbai and Bangalore to play the first game for years. Well, let's have a look at what could be a potential playing 11 for Mumbai. Very settled. I don't think you're going to have any confusion, except the fact that Quinton de Kock is not there for the first game. Has joined the side after international duty, and his quarantine is not over, so not available for the first game. But they have plenty of choices. Do you get a foreign player, Harsha, or do you just push Ishan Kishan up? He did that for India. Just push him up and tell him have fun with Rohit. He did that last season as well. Have fun with Rohit.
What they can do is they can push Ishan Kishan up, find somebody to play at 4, and use Nisham in that down to have another power hitter at the end. So if they can back Krunal Pandya to bat at 4, I think he scored hundreds from number 4 for Baroda this year. So if they can either push Ishan Kishan up, push Krunal Pandya up and play Nisham down, or they can just say, Chrislin, look, let's give you one more shot, man. Go and set the stadium alight.
Yeah, true. And then
the only reason I don't think it's... Yeah, the only reason I don't think they'll play Lin is because it's Chennai. Chennai spinners, they'll just, whoever they're going to play spinners, Chennai, slow track, Lin may not be the answer immediately for them. So, the other option is that one is Nisham, the other is, shoving Saurav Tiwari into the mix, putting up there and say, go and whack a few balls, it will give you good practice as well. And Saurav Tiwari is a fairly competent batsman, can really hit the ball hard. So, that's also another option. I think Nisham, Tiwari, both of those guys can fit in very seamlessly. And remember, today is the day. I mean, we're talking about, they could be playing with just 3 foreigners. Today is the day, 10 years back, exactly 10 years back, KKR played their first game with Gautam Gambhir as captain, 2 foreigners, only Jacques Kallis and Owen Morgan. So, yeah, maybe they could play with just 3.
Yeah. And tomorrow is the day that KKR for the first time had 9 players inside, outside the playing circle when the umpires walked in.
Yeah, he does that, right?
He's doing these things to me.
And the interesting thing is, this has come 4 minutes after he said we should not pull Joy's leg. We should not pull Joy's leg.
No.
The great Harsha Bhogle, the bastion of integrity and honesty and truth, has just lied to us. He has changed tack in 4 minutes and ganged up on Joy. We have the Bangalore team, of course. The main news from them is, and Joy has said earlier in the show, that will they back Virat Kohli as an opener for 10 games? My call is that they're going to play in the entire season. Virat is going to play the entire season as an opener unless something drastic happens in the middle order that gets him to drop down to 3. I think that is a big push. He's already made that call, and he's going to probably play all of them. I think the big call for them is going to be who is Maxwell going to play? Is Christian going to play? Because you have AB de Villiers who's playing. You probably have Kyle Jamieson who's playing. So then it's between Kane Richardson, Daniel Christian, and Glenn Maxwell that you've got to pick 2 out of those three players, depending on conditions. Who are the two you go with, Harsha?
I would go with for the first game, I would go with Richardson and Jameson, with AB and Maxwell as the four overseas players. Zampa's not available initially because he's getting married. So Zampa's not available initially. So I would go with those four. And because they need a lot of spin, I'd play Shahbaz, I'd play Washington, I'd play Chahal, and I'd play Maxwell. It'd give me four spin bowling options.
Interesting. Joy?
No, I tend to go with that as well. Though, between Richardson and Jamieson is this thing. I would, as I said, play one of Richardson and Jamieson and try and go with Daniel Christian there just to give them stability. Because if Daniel Christian clicks, it just changes the composition of the team. The other question is, Devdutt Padikkal has not had any match practice at all. So, putting him in there, I think they'll still stick him in, but he's literally just got out of quarantine. So he's going to take a little bit of time to settle in, but I think they'll throw him in anyway and say, because it doesn't make sense to, for him to wait. He's physically fit enough. I just think he may not be mentally quite prepared right now.
Okay, well, that's game one of season 2021. It is a marquee game. There's Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli. Rohit Sharma going for a hat trick of titles. Virat Kohli wanting his first one for the diehard Bangalore fans. So tomorrow, who do you? So here's the thing. Going by form, you just say that it's Bangalore's game. Perhaps just going by history. Mumbai just never. They don't check in for the first game. It's like they're not there. It's like Mr. Bhogle, right? I mean, his bags reach the hotel before he does, right? And then he comes in later and signs a register in his room, right?
ठीक ठाक तो चल रहा है ना सडनली क्या हो गया I think it's very important that Bangalore start well because they're playing 3 games on slow pitches. If they can't get going, then the old demons will come back to haunt them. Very, very important for them that they win 2 out of their first 3 games.
Yeah. Is their mind out of quarantine, Joy? Is Mumbai's mind out of quarantine? Because even when there was no COVID, their mind for the first couple of games is always in quarantine.
I know. They're not even thinking. They're not even thinking. I think RCB will go much harder. I wish them luck because if they do win their first games and things started, this will be a really interesting IPL. RCB doing well is important for the IPL to do well, and I'd really like them to do well.
I just hope for one thing that Bangalore picks an 11, and even if they lose, they don't change that 11 in the next game because that is something that they are fairly prone to doing. So I'd definitely like to see the same 11 at least going for the first 3 games for Bangalore. All right. Well, that's all we have time for. Thank you so much for all those of you who have been with us through this last 90 minutes. That's right, 90 minutes. I don't think even our families stay with us for that long. So thank you so much if you stayed here with us and tolerated us. But of course, we'll be here tomorrow to talk about the game. We'll also be here in the evening to talk about the curtain raiser in Hindi. So we'll be here for that. So do join us for that. So I'd like to thank you. A big thank you to Harsha Bhogle and Joy Bhattacharjya. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Looking forward to spending a lot more time this season. Yes, we will have fun. We will pull some leg. We will enjoy.
And we will keep phone on silent.
Yes, please, sir. Please keep phone on silent. No, sir, I'm getting a call right now. So I think now we should go. So thank you so much but see, when my call came, you didn't find out. That's how it's done, Professor. That's how it's done. Ooh. You were watching Cricbuzz Live in association with our fantasy partner, My 11th Circle. I'm Gaurav Kapur. We'll see you around. Yes, we will.